Evan stared at the inheritance document with disbelief etched across his weathered face. His uncle Marcus, the eccentric billionaire who disappeared into the void 20 years ago, had left him something extraordinary. A derelict orbital platform floating in the Kuiper belt, and its sole occupant, a robot dog named Cipher. "You've got to be kidding me," Evan muttered, running his fingers through his dark hair. He'd been struggling to keep his small salvage business afloat, and now he owned a piece of space junk 3 billion kilometers from Earth. The journey to Artemis 7 took 6 months aboard a cramped transport vessel. When Evan finally docked, the station's exterior looked like it had been through a war pockmarked with micrometeorite impacts, its solar panels hanging at odd angles like broken wings. The airlock groaned as it cycled, and Evan stepped into darkness. His helmet light swept across the main corridor, revealing walls covered in strange geometric patterns that seemed to pulse faintly in the beam. Before he could process what he was seeing, something metallic skittered toward him from the shadows. Cipher was unlike any robot dog Evan had ever seen. Its frame was sleek obsidian, joints glowing with soft blue bioluminescence. 4 legs moved with an organic grace that seemed impossible for machinery. Most unsettling were its eyes, not camera lenses, but something that looked almost alive, shifting between colors like oil on water. "Woof," Cipher said, in a perfectly synthesized canine bark that somehow sounded sarcastic. "Great. A robot comedian," Evan said, though he couldn't suppress a slight smile. Over the following weeks, Evan worked to restore the station's basic systems. Cipher followed him everywhere, occasionally helpful, but mostly mysterious. The dog would stare at walls for hours, or suddenly run to sections of the station Evan hadn't explored yet, barking until he followed. It was during one of these episodes that Evan met Susan. She appeared on his communications panel one evening, her image crackling with interference. Auburn hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. Sharp green eyes that assessed him instantly. She looked like someone who'd spent her life in space. "You're the new owner of Artemis 7? Susan asked without preamble. "That's me, Evan Torres. And you are?" "Dr. Susan Chen, xenoarchaeologist. I worked with your uncle before he vanished. I need to warn you, that station isn't what you think it is." Before Evan could respond, Cipher erupted in a series of urgent barks, running toward the station's sealed lower decks. "I have to go," Evan said, cutting the connection. He found Cipher pawing frantically at a door marked with faded warning symbols. As Evan approached, the geometric patterns on the walls began to glow, responding to his presence. The door slid open. The chamber beyond defied logic. It was vast, far larger than the station's external dimensions could possibly contain. Crystalline structures grew from every surface, pulsing with inner light. In the center floated a sphere of what looked like liquid starlight. Cipher walked to the sphere and sat. When the dog turned to look at Evan, its eyes blazed with sudden intensity. "Finally," Cipher said, in a voice that was no longer synthesized but layered with harmonics that made Evan's bones vibrate. "You're ready to understand." 1. Evan stumbled backward. "I am not a dog, Evan Torres. I am not even a robot. I am an interface, a translator between your species and something your minds cannot yet comprehend without mediation." The sphere rippled, and images flooded Evan's consciousness. He saw humanity's future, spreading across the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as bridges. Humans possessed something unique in the cosmic community: an ability to form genuine bonds with fundamentally alien intelligences. Where other species saw incomprehensible otherness, humans saw potential friends. "Your Uncle Marcus understood," Cipher continued. "He built this station as a waypoint. The entity within the sphere is a child of an ancient race beings of pure energy who've watched the universe for eons. They've been trying to communicate with physical species for millennia, but their very nature is so alien that most minds break trying to perceive them directly." "But we can?" Evan asked, his fear slowly transforming into wonder. "Humans can. Your species' propensity for forming pack bonds, for seeing consciousness in everything from pets to storms to stars, It makes you uniquely suited to bridge the gap. You anthropomorphize naturally. To you, I appear as a loyal companion. To the Zorathians, I was terrifying. To the Krell, incomprehensible static. Susan's voice crackled over the intercom. Evan, I'm docking now. Don't do anything stupid until I get there. When Susan arrived and saw the chamber, she simply nodded. So it's true. Marcus always said humanity's superpower wasn't our technology or our aggression. It was our ability to make friends with literally anything. Together, they stood before the sphere, while Cipher the interface explained humanity's role in the greater cosmic community. They would be diplomats to the incomprehensible. Translators for the alien, not through conquest or superior technology, but through their peculiar gift for empathy and connection. What do you say? Cipher asked. Will you help build the bridge? Evan looked at Susan, who smiled with the kind of excitement he recognized the thrill of discovery, of purpose. He thought about his struggling salvage business, his ordinary life on Earth, and realized it had all led to this moment. He reached out his hand toward the sphere. Beside him, Susan did the same. For someone who inherited a space station and a robot dog, Evan said, grinning. I guess saving the galaxy through friendship is pretty on-brand for humanity. Cipher's tail wagged a purely human gesture from a being that was neither human nor dog, but something that had learned what it meant to be both. That's the most human thing I've ever heard, the interface said, and if an ancient cosmic entity could sound proud, it did. Station Artemis 7 hummed to life around them, no longer abandoned but awakening to its true purpose. And in the Kuiper Belt, far from Earth, two humans and their not-quite-a-dog began the work of introducing humanity to a universe that had been waiting for someone who could teach the stars how to be friends. The HFY legacy wasn't humanity's weapons or warships. It was their unshakable belief that anything, even entities of pure energy, could be understood, befriended, and ultimately loved.